it's Dr. Toya here, and welcome to the By Default Highlight Reel, where we highlight our business owners by bringing you videos and interviews so that they can tell their stories in their own words. Please like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more episodes. I hope you enjoy. Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Toya here, and I am joined by Jessica Bramble, the founder and CEO of Curios by Jess. Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, I'm so happy to have you. So before we get into the business, please tell our viewers a little bit more about you, where you're from, things like that.
Absolutely. So my name is Jessica. I grew up in New York, grew up in Harlem. I live in New Jersey now. In my day job, I work in HR. And so I'm always about my feelings and being empathetic and making sure we're following the rules. And so, and I'm the founder of Curious by Jess, and happy to be here. Thank you.
Right. So tell me a little bit more about your background in terms of why you started the business.
Yeah, sure. So I guess from the time I was super young, I just really liked knickknacks and accessories. I was a kid, whenever we had to go to the mall, I was in Icing and Claire's looking for something. There's this really cute store in New York that's called Layla Row, and it's on the Upper West Side. It's honestly it was for older people, for sure. But they sell earrings and scarves and keychains and really funky umbrellas. And I've always had a love for those things. And then, in recent years, just working, I've experienced, job insecurity. And so I kind of realized that I needed something for myself. I needed to make sure that there was something that I had created that I was responsible for that could sort of help me sustain, life. And that, coupled with my love for accessories and just really cute things, came together. Curious by Jess.
Okay, lovely. So tell us a little bit more about the business itself.
Yeah, so I sell accessories and lifestyle products. And so I guess you can start from the top, right? Curios, the brand, is really about being fun and witty and confident. Our tagline is curating lifestyle products that allow you to live your life with uninterrupted curiosity. And so I want my products to pique your interest, but I also want them to sort of help you navigate life a bit better. I want you to feel you're a lot more confident when you're holding my products or you're using them. And those are sort of what come to mind when I think about that. When I was deciding and designing the business and what I wanted to do and sell, I knew that I wanted to work with other small businesses, and I wanted to make sure I was supporting people like myself who were also sort of not just struggling, but thriving and creating businesses for themselves and creating businesses that were able to sustain themselves and their families. And I wanted to highlight those women, and particularly Black women, but those Black businesses and the women-owned businesses as well. And so that's sort of why I started the business. I believe that's the question, right? In the background. And all my products, I sell journals, keychains, enamel pens, mugs. These are things that I use in my day-to-day. I want to make sure the products are actually practical and actually have value to you because I want you to use them. I want you to be able to see a way for you to use it in your everyday life. And yeah, that's kind of the idea behind the business. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did. So tell me about the name. So for those who don't know, spell it first and then tell us about why it's spelled that way.
Yeah, so Curios is spelled Curios. So you hear Curios and you think of curious, and so you want to add the extra U. Yeah. That's almost intentional. I took Latin for 6 years, and the word curios is derived from the word that also is derived from the word that comes from curiosity or curious. That word they use, curious, the word you're used to hearing. And so I knew I wanted a word that sort of piqued your interest, that's sort of made you go, oh, what's that? I knew I wanted to be curious kind of thing, like a curiosity thing, something like that. But I wanted to be different, right? We all want to change things up a little bit. Actually, if you look at my logo, the S at the end is a upside down question mark, right? Because it's oh, what's that? Yeah, so the word curious, actually curios, the root word means an interesting object, essentially. And so I was oh, I want to sell interesting objects. I got it. That's what I'll do. That's the word it's going to be. So that's where the name came from.
I love that. Yes. And, tell us a little bit more about your Latin that you took. Because that's very interesting as well.
Yeah, so I took Latin for 6 years. I took it all through high school and a little bit through college. Keep in mind, I went to high school in Harlem. I went to a public high school, and my principal at the time was just very dedicated in making sure, Black kids in Harlem, expanded their horizons and did things that people didn't expect us to do. And so Latin was one of those things we took. My school also offered fencing. They offered yoga at some point, Japanese classes. And so I've always been around people in environments that kind of like challenge the status quo and expected you to do something a little bit different. And so that's sort of where Latin came from. Took Latin for 6 years. And I just love the language. I thought it's really cool to sort of see how words change and develop and grow throughout time. Latin is the root word of all languages. It's a dead language, as people will tell you.
Right.
But it's useful. If you know Latin, you can kind of figure out almost anything. Well, Romance languages. And so that's why I think it's interesting and I like it.
Yes, yeah. Well, that is very interesting. I love what you said. And that school sounds amazing because this kind of box that people try to put us in that, that's not a Black thing or whatever, there's no such thing. We can do all things. So
we just have to know about it, right? It's all about access. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right. So you mentioned some of the things that you offer. How do you find these products to put it on your marketplace?
Absolutely. I literally sit on the internet and search to the end of my days. I wouldn't say that I have like a secret sauce, but it's not. Sometimes they find me or I find them. Right. I spend an unhealthy amount of time on TikTok. And so I find other small businesses from there that I like to work with. And then I use some platforms that partner specifically with smaller businesses. And so I'm able to sort of like use their platforms a little bit to work with them. And a lot of times I can connect with the small business through the platform, or even just do, social media, which I think is really cool because it's a personal touch. You go to like a Target, right? You don't always know who the people are in Target creating your products, but I know the people who are creating my bookmarks, right? She's very lovely. Her name's Lauren Ashley. Right. Pineapple Design Sundays, right? Like I can pinpoint that. And I think that's really awesome to have that personal touch that you might not have with other brands.
Gotcha. And is it that you are just getting into more the business side of it? Is it that you're wholesaling these products or how does it work?
Yeah, so I'm buying them wholesale from the businesses and then I'm selling them on the site.
Gotcha.
And so that's where the curation part of the business comes in with the by Jess. I didn't explain that part. It's really just me like curating, a fun. If it was like a real life store, it'd be like a fun boutique.
Nice.
And so just curating that. I do buy. So I buy everything wholesale. It's really, really, really easy. So shockingly, I didn't know how easy it was to do stuff like this. To me, and so because I'm more of an operations person, and so that's how I'm doing it now.
Alrighty. So, you've been in business for how long now?
About a year and a couple weeks now.
Yeah. Okay, congratulations on your 1 year. That's a big step. So, I'm sure there must have been lots of ups and downs. So tell me, what have been some of the challenges you faced in business so far?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the number one challenge is that it's a bit of an oversaturated market, right? Everyone's trying to sell something online to you. Everyone's using social media to do it. It can be a little bit overwhelming. It's overwhelming for me personally, right? Yeah. I'm like, I just want to go on the internet and laugh. Why is everyone trying to sell me a thing?
Right.
So I think that has really been the number one challenge. And as a result of that, it's really just finding the brand's voice and carving out a niche for myself. Because the market's oversaturated, but you go into the grocery store and there's 5 different types of bread. Who needs that?
True.
No one, but it's there. So there's no reason why I can't be a part of this market as well. Sort of carve a place for myself. So that's sort of been the biggest challenge is oversaturation and carving out the niche and dividing the voice of the brand has really been difficult for me. And because of that, just lack of confidence, truly, and just presenting myself and the brand to people. And so whenever I share with people, I'm like, oh, I kind of have a business that's, cool.
Yeah.
But now that I've gone through a bit of a rebrand, I've just done the work to be more clear about the products, the brand, the voice, how you should feel about, coming to my Instagram page, for instance, now that it's a bit more closer to my like actual personality, I'm not trying to fit aesthetic, I can be more confident about it. But those are definitely some of the things that have been really, really challenging.
Yeah.
There's a lot out there. If you don't feel confident, if you're not working, you're not pumping out that content and work all the time, you get drowned out. Truly, that's just the nature of the beast at the moment. And so that's really hard, but I'm hoping that I can change that for myself a little bit this year. Well, a lot bit this year.
Lot. Yes. You're going to manifest it. Yes.
It'd be great. It'd be awesome.
So tell me a little bit more about the rebrand.
Absolutely. So I kind of realized I needed to rebrand around like the second half of last year. I knew that I wasn't feeling my logo, wasn't feeling the colors. Website was kind of boring. I found that when I talked about the brand, people were really excited about it. But if they approached the Instagram or the website on their own, they weren't as excited about it. And so I realized that I need to change it up. I was sort of like paying attention to social media, trying to look out for someone to work with, initially I was really looking for a new logo. That was just the initial idea. Like, I just need a new logo. I think I can like work backwards if I just have something a lot more close to what I want. So I was looking for like people someone who could help me with that. Truly just like keeping an eye out. And I came across this influencer that I follow. I've always liked the graphics that she creates for herself, the content that she creates. And she shared that she was starting her own company, essentially helping businesses rebrand or brand themselves and define their brand voice and colors and logos and all that stuff. And I was like, I already like what she was selling as an influencer, and she's a Black woman. And like, I grew up in the church and she's a Christian and I'm also a Christian. So like a lot of those things kind of like married together. And I was like, I'll see what you're selling. Her name is Sade Solomon. I believe her is at Sade Solomon, and her company is called Pusher Digital. And so in our initial conversation, we met and she sort of like pointed out, before I even sort of shared my pain points, she saw them already. And as I was discussing the things I want to accomplish, the things that she was able to provide and the results she wanted to give were the same. Yeah. And so it kind of aligned. I was like, okay, I can do this. I'll make the investment. It wasn't cheap, but I made the investment. I put the time in, and I'm really proud of the results, right? Like, I have a logo, I have colors a logo that's more inviting, colors that are exciting. I think we worked on social media templates because social media is not my thing. Yeah. So I don't love it. Like, I was one of the last people to join Instagram of any of my friend groups. Right. Like, there were pictures of me on Instagram before I actually joined Instagram. So I was like, I don't want to do this. And so I just needed help. I needed someone who could sort of like make it easy and talk me through it and show me how to do things in ways that I didn't know. Like, I could figure it out, but I wasn't doing it very well. Right. And so we worked together for a few months. We went through different iterations of the logo, picked out colors. It was very much a collaborative effort. Like, I didn't just drop it all in her hands and say, fix my issue. We did it together. It was a really good sort of like experience and practice to go through. And so now I have a brand voice. My Instagram looks a lot more inviting. It looks exciting, it looks fun. The logo sort of matches what I'm looking for when I think about Curios and what it can do and where it can go. And I'm just more confident, truly, to discuss it and share it with people. And that was one of my initial goals, was just to be more confident in this thing that I had created for myself and invested. It's like, if I can do this for businesses and companies and I can make them look good and people can use my work and fire me, right? Yeah. I could do it for myself too. So yeah. Definitely.
No, that's great. And I love that you sought out help for something you felt like you said, that was very important. You can do it, but why? Why? Right. And so it may not necessarily be cheap, but your time is invaluable. So I think making that investment is always something that I know I struggle with. It's like, I don't want to spend the money. I don't have any.
It hurt. It wasn't easy.
I'm sure it did.
When people, I was like, I got it. I don't want to let it go. But the alternative is that I shut everything down. So right. Yeah. I was like, well, I'll just do it. I'll just and work and make sure it pays off in the end. And it has, luckily. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So tell me, on the flip side, what has been your biggest win so far since you've been in business?
My biggest win so far. That's a good question. Obviously, people buying from me is a win. That's exciting. Actually, the biggest win has been the support of like my family and friends. I know people complain a lot. I see it mostly on social media. People just complain that when they start a business or they're doing something new, that their family and their closest friends don't support, or they expect, free stuff. My family does not expect free stuff. Maybe except my sister, because she's always around. But she knows, like, if I say you got to pay for something, she's like, I understand. But for the most part, like, a lot of my customers have been friends and family. Like, I think that kind of goes to my earlier point of just like, if it was me, people who know me were happy to buy from me. But people who didn't know me or the brand were just like, it's cute, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I kind of use that as information and as like a marketing information, like kind of in my mind. But yeah, I'm really lucky. Like my friends and family, my biggest supporters. Actually, at the end of last year, I was kind of on a hiatus, and my friend invited me to a holiday party, and I almost didn't go. And like at the holiday party, everyone had to bring a mug, and so I brought the I Am Affirmation mug with me to this, and like it was kind of like a white elephant kind of thing. And my mug was like passed around maybe like 4 times. And then someone who tried to get it twice, she is eventually like bought whatever was left on my site. So I had like 4 on the site at that time.
Wow.
And she bought all of them. And I was like, and like she sent them to her friends. She bought 2 for herself and like 2 for her, like an aunt and a cousin. And I'm like, wow, thank you. That was beautiful.
You
almost didn't go. But yeah, I think that has been the biggest win, just is really the support and knowing that the people you care about are also invested in you as well. And that's a good feeling.
Yeah. And going back to that party, I found that I have learned that as well, starting a business, because I don't think I'm an introvert. I don't like that word, but I have introverted tendencies. I think I'm an extroverted introvert, if that's a thing. Mm-hmm. So I often don't like to go places or be a part of things. I'm just like, nah. But I want to, like, I'm one of those people, I want to be invited so I can say no.
Also.
Right? But then I found that, I need to stop doing that, because you go to things and you take part and then all these opportunities just present themselves.
Yep.
It's just like, if you were home, this would not have happened.
No, if I was home, I'd still be sitting on my couch wondering, oh man, I should probably be working on the business. But I let the business work for itself.
Right.
So it was really good. That was great.
Yes. All right. So, what is one thing that you wish people knew about having a small business? One secret you wish people knew?
One secret I wish people knew. That's really good. It's lonely.
Yes.
It's a different kind of loneliness. You're doing everything yourself, right? Mm-hmm. You're the accountant, you're the web developer, you're the logo, editor, you're doing the site, your inventory, your customer service, your social, you're doing it all. Right. And it does take a lot of energy. And I think people tend to see the result, but they don't understand that it's a lot of work. And even if you're not getting the results that you're expecting to get, it's still a lot of work to sort of create, and hope that people respond to it in a way that's like successful for you right at the end. And that can be a lot of work. It can be a lot, right? Like, I think that's probably that's been the hardest part. And so I've been working on or looking for like a community of small business owners, because I think whenever you enter a new phase in life, or whenever you try something different, you need a community, right? Even if it's your job, right? Like I work in HR, and like a lot of my closest friends are people who also work in HR, and we can sort of commiserate together about our day jobs. And I think the same thing goes for a business. You need people who understand your pain points, understand what's going on without explaining every single thing, because sometimes the explaining is the hard part. You're just like, I just need you to get it. I just need you to understand. Like, I can't sit and tell you why I was crying last night because I couldn't get the right font on the website and the colors were weird and I couldn't figure it out. And my email isn't working. Like, it's just like, I had to learn like domains and like how to like fix the back end of your domain so that your people's emails wouldn't bounce when they emailed you. What? Like, I'm pretty good at things. Like I can figure out a lot. That tested the level of patience I didn't know I had. I was like, I'm
not laughing at you. I'm laughing because it's so true. It's just like you don't know. And it's just like, what am I doing here? I'm a really smart person. Like, why is this so hard? Yeah.
It's like my brain works. I know it does. I know it does. Why isn't it working? and it's just you and like customer service emails, and then you haven't figured out along the way. So yeah, I think that's the hardest part of owning your business that people don't realize. It gets a little bit lonely, and not in a way that like, oh, I'm making money, I'm pulling you. I think that message gets lost sometimes. It's just the fact that you're doing it all, and if you don't have the money to pay people to do it, it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of just like, if I don't do it, nobody else will kind of thing. And that, I think, yeah, that's definitely the hardest part.
Yeah, no, that was a good one. Yeah. And something you touched on about having a small business community and not having to explain. Every time I do these interviews, my guests say something that reinforces why I started the directory in the first place, right? Mm-hmm. So that not having to explain, the explanation is sometimes so draining. It's like, well, I don't even want to talk to you. Like, I don't want to be bothered, right? So that's why By Default exists, right? You don't have to explain. Everybody, of course, we're not a monolith and all that, but in general, people here are going to get it, right? The businesses are going to get it. The physicians on the directory are going to get it. So yeah, I love that. And it goes the same for small business. Because if I tell somebody that I wanted to throw my computer against the wall because I couldn't figure out something on my back end, they're probably like, aren't you a doctor? You're supposed to figure that out. Or can't you pay somebody to do it? I'm just like, well, I could do all those things, but I have to do it myself. And it was terrible.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend in IT about my issue. He was like, honestly, I can't help you. He was like, in my job, I don't even do that. I outsource it. I'm like, the head of IT can't help me? What is that about? What is this?
Right.
What's the point for having you around? But yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Like, you have no idea what platforms like this sort of like reinforce and like empower other small businesses, because it's like, oh, we're not alone. Someone else is invested in my success. Who's not just my family, right?
Right.
Which is great. Don't get me wrong. But after a while, you're like, I know you're getting sick of me, but please buy this journal.
Right.
And so I think it's really amazing and admirable what you created here.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I also wanted to make sure I didn't just focus on things that were interesting to me or that I liked, even though I made this directory for myself, honestly. That's like my whole basis. But I did try to, branch out more and just make sure, because again, Black people are not a monolith. Like, there are people who like enamel pins, which I also didn't realize were a thing. I did. I'm like, I don't have any pins in my house at all. So, I wanted to make sure it was all encompassing so that we can serve Black people who took Latin for 6 years, because you exist and you are important.
Thank you.
Yes.
Much appreciated.
So, what does it mean to you to be a Black business owner?
Wow. What does it mean to be a Black business owner? It means a lot. It really does. And it's hard to put it into words without getting like too radical. How do I say this? So
get radical, girl. Go ahead.
I was raised in an environment where I was not the only Black person, right? Like, the people around me, I grew up around Black people, right? I grew in the churches I grew up with, the schools I went to. My family is super Black. Like, I never had a like, oh, this is when I realized I was Black mom. Never that. That was never me. And the people around me worked hard. They were business owners. My aunt and my cousin, they own a fashion company, Harlem Fashion Week, and they create fashion shows in Harlem, and they support businesses. And this is something like this. They do this.
Right.
My grandfather has always, been a pastor. He's always had a business. He's always like, the people in my life have always worked hard and have always instilled a sense of pride in themselves, right? And a lot of times they've done their own thing because they realize, corporate America wasn't going to give them what they wanted, right? And like, my family is a family of educators as well. And so it's not just, I want to make money to make money, but it's also, there's like an aspect about it of just supporting people who are like me, people who are similar to me. I was never going to be a teacher. That's not for me. But I always knew that I liked supporting people. I always knew that, I wanted to find a way to make someone's day a little bit better if I could, as long as it didn't come at the expense of myself, of course. So to be a Black business owner means that it feels like I'm a part of like this really cool group of people who have decided to say, I don't care about this job. I'm going to work really hard for myself, right?
Right.
And I only have this job so that I can fund the business, the thing that has a bit more longevity. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm not the babysitter. I'm not any of that. I'm here. I have this job so that we can have health insurance,
right,
and that you can fund my ventures, right? But that's all that. I have this business because you feel empowered in a way, and I think one of the things I do struggle with sometimes is like making sure I'm doing it all in like an ethical way. Like obviously I want to make money and be successful, but like want to make sure I'm not shorthanding or like taking away from someone else in that process. I probably care a little bit too much, but that's what's important to me when I think about owning a business, making sure that, if I eat, everybody else eats too.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's really long-winded and a lot of feelings, but that's what it means to be a Black business owner.
That's okay. I love it. Yeah, no, I always give long answers to short questions. So that's
perfect. That means you got great questions.
all right. So tell our viewers where they can find you and all of your products.
Absolutely. So you can find me in a few places. You can find us on Instagram at Curios by Jess. That's Curios by BYGESS. You can go to the website, which is also curiousbygess.com. And then I'm also on TikTok. I have a lot of fun on there. And that one's a little bit more relaxed. And on my TikTok is Jess_Curios by Jess. And those are the places that you'll find me pretty consistently. The products are on the website. Soon the products will be available on Instagram shop, that whole thing. And soon on Facebook, actually, because that's already integrated together.
Right.
So why not use the tools that are available to you?
Yes.
And yeah, those are all the places you can find me now.
All right. And the last place is bydefault.com. Yes.
I completely forgot. I'm sorry. I can be found on By Default, of course.
No worries. Bydefault.com. She's one of our Business Tribe members, and we are so, so happy to have you on the site.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's amazing.
Yes. So lastly, tell our viewers what can we expect from Curios by Jess? What's next?
Absolutely. So for Curious by Jess, what's next is that I'll be, being more consistent with the social media. I'm saying it out loud so that you can all hold me accountable for it. Working with more small businesses, finding new products that sort of like align with the brand a bit more. And then hopefully in the future, I will be curating my own products, actually creating them myself, some of them, and then working with small businesses as a curator in itself. It's more like a freelancer kind of thing. Because that's probably my favorite part about having this business. It's finding the products, and I love spending money, mostly other people's money. So I'm happy to do that.
Best way to spend money.
So yeah, those are the things that are coming up next for me.
Okay, that is amazing, and it sounds very exciting. And I hope you're able to bring everything you want to fruition.
Thank you so much.
All right, so that's it, guys. That it has been a pleasure, Jessica. I keep calling you Jessica or Jess. What do you prefer?
I don't care.
You don't care? Okay, good.
No.
I like Jess.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny. My family does not call me Jess at all.
Oh.
They were like, where did that come from? Yeah, my family calls me Jessie or a bunch of other nicknames, family nicknames. They're like, where'd you get Jess from? That's not a thing. It's me. It's who I am now.
Yes, you have to have your outward persona, your business persona, because Dr. Toya is definitely not me anywhere but this business. So I feel you. Again, we're here. Yeah.
We here, girl.
All right, guys, that's it for now. See you next time. Bye.